everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, and then also a moment of silence for private reflection. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We'll start with our roll call. Member Torman. Fine. Here. Member McClenny. Here. Member Ms. Gorski. Present. Member Shuker. Here. Member Berginger.
Here.
Member Doyle. I believe
Here.
Member Doyle. Thank you. Senator Brewster.
Here.
Thank you. And Member Totten.
Present.
Okay, I believe Mr. Representative Piscatana is unable to attend. Okay, the first order of business is we're going to ask for the approval of the minutes from the July 26th, 2024 regular meeting. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
So moved.
Take that a motion is in a second. Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion's carries. Thank you very much. Okay, our next item of business is the report from our Chief Executive Officer. Catherine, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. Please join me in a moment of silence for the following employees who have passed away since we last met. Operators Robert Dudko, Richard Giersinski, Albert Gonzalez, Gilbert Jones, James Meyer, Gregory McWilliams, Donald Snyder, and Joseph Winters, Administrative Specialist Shirley Johnson, Bus Shifter Carl Folk, Dispatcher Regis Hogan, Garage Foreman Anthony Celentano, Mechanic Ralph Pagone, Repair Person James Anderson, Route Foreman George Gatus, Technician Anthony Mihalski, Transit Police Officer Sam Hadley, Maintenance Person William Carney. I'd also like to ask for an additional moment of silence for our colleague and friend Joe Corello, the Manager of Employee Relations, who passed away unexpectedly this week. Joe was a hardworking and kind person who handled his job with professionalism and fairness. I think it's fair to say this was a shocking loss for all of us. To lose somebody so quickly is always a shock. Joe was not just a good worker, but a good person. We'll miss him, and we extend our deep, deep sympathies to his family. So a moment of silence for these employees, please. Thank you. Well, I am excited today to talk about our next steps for the future of public transit in Allegheny County. Many of you have heard the comment that our bus network is 60 years old. Some of our routes are 160 years old, and it's time for a change. Change is hard, but people have changed how they travel, so it's time for us to match up to that. On Monday, we will unveil our bus line redesign draft network 1.0, the culmination of over a year's worth of hard work, data analysis, and community input. This is a first draft of our reimagined bus network, and I can't wait to share it with you and what this means for our region. So starting back in 2023, we asked our residents to tell us what matters most to them in choosing public transit. Is it frequency? Is it connectivity? Is it a short trip? Do you want more service during the day? Do you want more service on the weekend? These critical insights, along with demographic and ridership data, have helped shape our new plan. And again, we run the service, but our communities own it. So the only way to develop a network which is responsive to folks is to work with all our communities. Our goal has been clear: to rethink and redesign how public transit serves Allegheny County. We need a system which matches the mobility needs of today, not just those of the past. And the draft network is a collaborative, data-driven approach aimed at answering key questions: where a bus route should go, when they should operate, and how frequently they should run. So let me talk about how this can benefit our various communities. First and foremost, this redesign lets us use our existing resources more efficiently. By discontinuing certain small segments of routes and commuter flyers where we have seen ridership disappear, we can increase service and frequency where it's needed most. So moving the frequency to where the folks are using it. This means more people have greater access to routes running 30 minutes or better, more direct routes, and better accesses to the places that folks want to get in Allegheny County. For the average resident, this draft network will open up more opportunities, greatly expand connectivity, and add new one-seat rides between communities. And great care was taken to really focus on better access to community stores, health facilities, and to job centers. With more frequent, more reliable service, the draft network improves mobility for lower income communities, residents without access to a car, and communities of color. By redesigning a network to reflect where people live and work today, we're making sure public transit plays a critical role in creating a more equitable and inclusive future for all of Allegheny County. Now, as we roll out Draft Network 1.0, I encourage you to dive into the details. This plan doesn't just include changes to route, but a commitment to working with all our communities to design a network that has consistent, reliable service. Routes will not operate at regular intervals, so 15, 30, or 60 minutes makes it easier for you to plan your trips. In our high demand corridors, we're introducing even greater frequencies. So every 5 minutes on the P1, every 10 minutes on the P3, for example. We're also improving access to our busways and our light rail system. Riders will have easier connections with buses stopping at every busway station. So all those emails we get about limited stops on the busway, bye-bye, something else that we can talk about. New transit hubs will be designed to link neighborhoods without requiring trips into downtown. I know we all love downtown, but we don't all need to come here every single time we get on a bus, especially if this isn't our destination. This is quicker, more efficient travel across the county, bringing jobs, healthcare, and shopping centers closer to where people live. But this isn't just about increasing convenience. It's about rethinking how public transit serves as a backbone for our regional economy. We designed the system with growth in mind, so better connections to Oakland, streamlining our airport service. So as much as we love IKEA, you don't have to go to IKEA every time you go to the airport, and connecting to more jobs. If you want to buy new table legs on your way out of town, I don't know how much we can help you. None of this would be possible without the input from everybody in this room and everyone who is listening online. Over the past year, we've heard from thousands of residents, and today we're asking for your continued feedback. We've also met internally. We've been out to all of our garages, talking to our folks who operate our service, who dispatch our service, who are living with it every day, just reaching out to a whole bunch of different places to get the best possible feedback. This fall and winter, we'll host more public engagement sessions, online and in person. By next spring, we'll have another final proposal. Now, you may ask, why another proposal? We need to make sure that we heard you, and that's what we're doing now. We come out with a set of maps. Based on this feedback, you'll see revisions coming back in the spring. It's iterative. Did we hear you right? Can we agree on what is going to be an improvement for our communities? And then we go live. Not to come back again would be a failure in this process. We've set a goal to start rolling out some of the most popular and simpler changes as early as 2026, with more complex improvements to follow. Now, 2026 sounds like a long way away, but if we're doing good feedback, we're coming out again next year to make sure we heard you, then to take the time to build good, solid schedules, it will take us into 2026. And I'd love to be fast, but I'd rather be right. I'd like to emphasize the redesign is more than just routes and schedules. It's making sure that transit continues to be and is a better tool for expanding opportunity all across Allegheny County. Better access to jobs, reducing traffic, improving sustainability, making the region more competitive. And if you just want to go to a different grocery store, we can get you there. We're going to make sure we have these trips put together. Our website will be live Monday. It's www.buslineredesign.com. Please check us out. There'll be a whole bunch of information down to the route level of figuring out where your route goes today, where it could go tomorrow. Please give us your feedback. And finally, we have special recognition planned this morning for the 4 individuals who recently left the PRT board. I'd like to ask our former board members, Jeff Letwin, Ann Ogorek, and John Haig, to join me if able. And I'll note that Michelle Zmianik is actually here, but my notes say that you had a prior commitment. Weren't you out of the country? Oh, well, I mean, your heart rate will be much lower over the weekend. So I would like to ask then, Michelle, because she's here, Ann Ogorek and John Haig to join me up at the front of the room. And I will turn this meeting over to our board chair. But I first want to start to thank you individually on behalf of myself and all the employees at PRT for your dedication, your contributions, your support. I've worked with boards before, but you have always been at every public meeting. You have been above and beyond. You have made sure that you were out there when we were hearing from passengers, the good, bad, and the ugly. You read the board packets and all the policies, and you have been here through thick and thin. And thank you for making the magic happen. But I will turn it over to our board chair now.
Thank you all for coming, and thank you, Catherine, for that nice lead up. So the Port Authority Board, or now PRT, but some of you started when it was the Port Authority Board. That's why I wanted to mention it in that capacity. Has a special place, I think, in all of our hearts. And for the members who have been part of this board for some time and then basically had to rotate off, which is what should happen, right? Boards should change over. Fresh ideas should be able to be brought to boards. At some point, I'm going to be rotated off too. And, as much as everyone loves me, and you can all roll your eyes, at some point, it'll be my turn to step aside and allow a fresh, different voice to come in and take my spot. That's what's supposed to happen. You hate to see people go, but we very much appreciate all of your work. So we have board members that have graciously volunteered to read proclamations to all of you. I'm going to start today with Lori, right? And Lori, you're going to take Mr. Tag.
Yes.
So if I may, you all get a special proclamation read by an individual board member, and then there'll be a reception thereafter. So please, Mr. Tagg, Lori, the floor is yours.
Whereas John L. Tagg Jr., a resident and proud citizen of Allegheny County, was a longtime member of the Board of Port Authority of Allegheny County, doing business as Pittsburgh Regional Transit. And whereas Mr. Tagg has been a strong and skillful disabilities advocate in the Pittsburgh region for many years. Working with regional and local advocacy groups and agencies, he has thoughtfully and diligently applied his energy and disabilities expertise to issues concerning public transit accessibility. And whereas he earned a degree in education from Edinburgh University, and whereas he is the principal of JT Consulting Services, which specializes in disability policy and training, including public sector application of the Americans with Disabilities Act. And whereas Mr. Tagg has served as a project director for the Western Pennsylvania Disability History and Action Consortium, has chaired the Allegheny Link Advisory Committee, has served as a board member of the Vocational Rehabilitation State Board, was a member of the Pennsylvania Transportation Alliance, and has been treasurer of the City County Task Force on Disability, among many other positions with local and regional agencies and organizations. And whereas Mr. Tagg was appointed to PRT's board in August of 2013 by then Allegheny County Executive Rich Fitzgerald, and whereas he was appointed to serve as chair of the Planning and Stakeholders Relations Committee of PRT's board, and in this role, he actively and consistently communicated with transit advocacy groups, community organizations, and individual transit users, ensuring that their needs, issues, and concerns were known to PRT's board and key staff members, so that these ideas and concerns could be addressed during the process of transit planning. And whereas the board of PRT wishes to express its heartfelt gratitude to Mr. Tagg for his many years of excellent service and effective leadership. Now, therefore, be it resolved that this resolution be adopted in honor and recognition of and in gratitude for the devoted and excellent service to PRT provided by Mr. Tagg as a member.
Miss you already, John. Miss you. As a reminder, all members will receive a copy of the proclamation as well after the meeting. The next will be, I believe, Mr. Totten will be providing a couple words for Ms. Orgoric. Mr. Totten, are you there?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please proceed.
Whereas Mrs. Ann O'Gorick, a resident and proud citizen of Allegheny County, has a longtime member of the Board of Board of Port Authority of Allegheny County, doing business as Pittsburgh Regional Transit, and whereas she was shown dedication to public service throughout her education and career, having earned a bachelor's degree in public administration and a master's degree in city and regional planning. And whereas early in her professional career, she worked at PRT in its planning department as an associate transit planner, contributing directly to the planning and development of PRT's transit system and working on a number of significant transit projects. And whereas she was a senior transportation planner with URS Corporation, during which time she managed major transportation projects within the Pittsburgh region. And whereas she served as the manager of transportation initiatives for Allegheny County Economic Development Department, and she currently serves as assistant director, mobility and transportation initiatives for the Allegheny County Economic Development Department. And whereas Ms. O'Gorick was appointed to PRT's board in December of 2016 by then Allegheny County Executive Rich Fitzgerald. And whereas she was elected to the office of treasurer of PRT's board and served in that office until her departure from the board in 2024. And whereas Ms. O'Gorick was appointed to serve as chair of the finance committee of PRT's board, and in that role she worked with key PRT staff and diligently ensured that the PRT board was informed concerning all PRT budgetary and financial issues. And whereas the board of PRT wishes to express its heartfelt gratitude to Ms. O'Gorick for her many years of excellent service and effective leadership. Now, therefore, be it resolved that this resolution be adopted in honor and recognition of and in gratitude for the devoted and excellent service to the PRT provided by Ms. O'Gorick as a member.
Like Mr. Festivities already.
Sorry, is security here to remove this person? Security? Thank you, Mr. Letman, for joining us. Oh, that's okay. The next recognition will come from Ally Doyle to Michelle. Ally, are you ready?
I am, thank you. Whereas Michelle Smianik, a lifelong resident and proud citizen of Allegheny County, was a longtime member of the Board of Port Authority of Allegheny County, DBA Pittsburgh Regional Transit. And whereas Ms. Smianik earned a bachelor's degree in English from Duquesne University, where she also received training in business and technical writing. And whereas she applied her education and skills in the private sector, holding development positions in both the business and healthcare industries. And whereas Ms. Smianik is deeply involved in her community, serving as a board member of the Mount Lebanon Breakfast Club, vice chair of Mount Lebanon Historic Preservation Board, board member for Women on the Move, MS Pittsburgh chapter, and as Stephen Minister, elder, teacher, past church life and education chair with the Southminster Presbyterian Church, and chair of Mount Lebanon's Democratic Committee, among many other organizations and activities. And whereas Ms. Smianik was appointed to PRT's board in January of 2016 by then Allegheny County Executive Rich Fitzgerald. And whereas she was appointed to serve as chair of the Performance Oversight and Monitoring Committee of PRT's board. And in this role, she undertook responsibility for reporting to PRT's board on all matters concerning procurement of materials and certain professional services, and regarding PRT's major capital projects, among other things. And whereas the board of PRT wishes to express its heartfelt gratitude to Ms. Smianik for her many years of excellent service and effective leadership. Now, therefore, be it resolved that this resolution be adopted in honor and recognition of, and in gratitude for, the devoted and excellent service to PRT provided by Ms. Smianik as a member of PRT's board.
Thank you. And the last one, Jeff, you have me. You can take that as it may. And thank you. And in advance, I want to thank all members for their participation and help honoring our former members. It's been very kind of you and I'm very thoughtful, so thank you. Whereas Jeffrey W. Letwin, a resident and proud citizen of Allegheny County, was a longtime member and respected leader of the Port Authority of Allegheny County, also known as the Pittsburgh Regional Transit. And whereas Mr. Letwin is an attorney in Allegheny County, currently with the firm Saul Ewing, and began practicing in 1979. Over the course of his career thus far, he has attained many honors and accolades for his skill and success as a legal practitioner, including numerous listings in the Pennsylvania Super Lawyer and a rating of preeminent by the legal publication Martindale and Hubble. And whereas, as he has used his knowledge and skills to serve a number of other agencies, commissions, and organizations within the Pittsburgh region, including serving as the Pittsburgh City Planning Commissioner, a member of the Board of Allegheny County Sanitary Authority, a member of the Board of Directors of the Pennsylvania Economy League, and a member of the U.S. Global Leadership Coalition's Pennsylvania Advisory Committee, among many others. And whereas Mr. Letwin's hardworking and leadership in the area of public transit led to his appointment by the Pennsylvania Governor, Josh Shapiro, in October of 2023 to serve as a member of the Pennsylvania Transportation Advisory Committee. And whereas Mr. Letwin is a tireless volunteer and philanthropist, generously giving his time and energy to support the Jewish community of Pittsburgh through services with organizations such as United Jewish Federation, among others. And whereas he was first appointed to the board of PRT in August of 2005 by the Honorable Dan Honorato, then the county executive, with the approval of the Allegheny County Council, and served continuously as a board member until his departure from the board in 2024. And whereas he was first elected to the position of chair of PRT's board in April of 2017 and continuously served in the capacity until his departure from the board in 2024. During his tenure as board chair, the board and PRT benefited greatly from his steady leadership, wise judgment, and warm relationships with his fellow board members, PRT personnel, its stakeholders, and its ridership. And whereas during the period of Mr. Letwin's service as PRT's board chair, the agency completed the approximately 1.2-mile extension of the light rail system from downtown Pittsburgh to the North Shore, known as the North Shore Connector project, obtained $150 million in federal funding, and began construction of the University BRT project line that will be provided a bus rapid transit connection between downtown, uptown, and Oakland, and secured a stable and increased level of state funding under Pennsylvania's Act 89 in 2013. And whereas the board of PRT wishes to express its heartfelt gratitude to Mr. Letwin for his many years of excellent service and effective leadership. Now, therefore, be it resolved that this resolution be adopted in honor and recognition and in gratitude for the devoted and excellent service to the PRT provided by Mr. Letwin as a member and the chair of PRT's board. Thank you, Jeff. We couldn't fit all your accolades in there. You had 2 sheets. Thank you. If we can get Andy.
And Madam Chair, we have one more last item to unveil today. Over the years, PRT management and staff have benefited from the time and dedication of our board members. Each member offers a unique insights based on their personal experience and backgrounds. We also know the board chair specifically takes on added roles, not just leading meetings, but working more directly with the CEO and guiding PRT through the board process. And as we discussed honoring all our board members today, we also decided to recognize this special role more formally in the boardroom. So I will unveil in a moment a new plaque. Who said ooh? Guys, that recognize the PRT board chair so that future boards, employees, and members of the public can see the names of who have held this role. The plaque's not in its final form, so you'll have to imagine a larger background and frame, which we'll install soon. Since our rebrand, PRT, we've only had until now one chair, Jeff Letwin. And so, Jeff, if you'll come with me, we will unveil this new plaque. I think we'll unveil this new plaque. Come on up. It is. See, it'll be like fancier.
Wow. Great, thank you. Okay, so sure.
Cheese and race.
I do.
You didn't need any more words. You got it.
Enough space here.
The more space.
And unless there's any questions, Madam Chair, that will conclude my remarks.
Thank you, Catherine, for your
Thank you.
presentation today, and thank you, former board members, for all of your service, and thank you to our new board members for filling their shoes. And I actually, based upon what I've seen so far, we're in great shape. So thank you all very much for being members of the board, and look forward to continuing this journey together. Our next item of business will be the report of the Performance and Oversight Committee.
The Performance Oversight Committee met last week, and I have 3 resolutions for the board's consideration. The committee first reviewed 9 procurement items, including a revenue contract, and determined the bid to be in accordance with PRT's procurement policies and procedures, and the prices to be fair and reasonable. The Performance Oversight Committee recommends the awards of bids listed in the resolution for the total amount of approximately $6.2 million. My fellow members, I respectfully request the board approve this resolution.
Thank you. With that, I'll take a motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Hearing a motion is second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
The next resolution seeks authorization to extend and amend agreements with a pool of firms to provide general marketing services. At its October 2020 meeting, PRT's board authorized the award of agreements to 6 contractors, which are listed in the resolution, to provide these services in various categories. The agreements were for 4 years in the amount of $5,650,000 and contain the option to extend the term of the agreements up to 1 additional year at the sole discretion of PRT. The Performance Oversight Committee recommends extending the agreements for 1 year to November 14th, 2025, with no increase to the total not to exceed amount. My fellow members, I respectfully request the board approve this resolution.
Thank you. May I hear a motion for approval?
So moved.
Thank you. Motioned and second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
The final resolution seeks authorization to enter into agreements to provide legislative consulting services. PRT requires assistance in properly representing PRT before political bodies and similar organizations in the 2 categories of federal government and state and local government. In order to obtain qualified firms, a request for proposals detailing the required scope of services was prepared and advertised. 3 proposals were received for the federal government category, and 3 were received for the state and local government category. The proposal submitted by Summit Strategies has been determined to be the highest rated proposal in the federal government category, and the proposal submitted by Greenlee Partners LLC and Buchanan, Ingersoll and Rooney PC have been determined to be the highest rated proposals in the state and local government category. The Performance Oversight Committee recommends entering into agreements with the aforementioned firms in the identified categories for the total not to exceed amount of $1,203,226.27 for the initial 3-year period, with the option to extend the term of the agreements up to an additional 2 one-year periods. My fellow members, I respectfully request the board approve this resolution.
So moved.
Thank you very much. Do we have a motion? We have a motion. Okay. May I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
The committee also received a presentation of the fiscal year 2024 annual physical inventory audit. It was reported that the results were effective and adequate, and the audit was positive with no observations. Unless there are any questions, that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Our next report will be the Planning and Stakeholders Relations Committee. Stephanie?
Good morning, Madam Chair, fellow board members, and stakeholders. The Planning and Stakeholders Committee met last week. I have a few items for the board. First, I have a resolution to introduce. The Director of Planning and Service Development, Derek Dalton, presented resolution R21-03 to extend the contract for general planning services by 1 year and expand the not to exceed amount of 1.63 million. Other contract items remain the same. The Planning and Stakeholders Relation Committee approved the resolution for full board's consideration. I respectfully request the board's approval.
Thank you. May I hear a motion for approval?
So
A second? Thank you. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Next, bus line redesign. Manager of Service Development, Emily Klobuchar, presented the bus line redesign 1.0 proposal. The proposed network aims to improve service quality and reliability, prioritize equitable investments, and expand connections. The project team will seek public feedback from September 30th through early 2025. PRT will be hosting a series of pop-up style events, stakeholder host meetings, in person, virtual public meetings. We encourage members of the community to learn more about the project and provide your feedback. The team will take all feedback into consideration before finalizing the proposed Network 2.0 spring of 2025. 3, Allegheny County Transit Council met on September 25th. Deputy Chief of Equity Inclusion, AJ Conway, provided updates on the priority access policy and made them aware of next steps. Manager of Capital Program Structure, Steve Hamley. I apologize if I pronounce your name. I believe it's pronounced Steve Hamley. Provided the council with updates on the Ross Park and Ride project. Director of Capital Programs, Josh Benyas, provided the council with updates on the high platform station repairs. Government Affairs Liaison Melissa Greddy presented the language access plan for the council. The next scheduled meeting is October 23rd. 4, the Committee on Accessible Transportation met on September 5th. Deputy Chief of Equity Inclusion, AJ Conway, provided an update on the priority access policy plan and made them aware. Manager of Capital Program Structures, Denise, provided the committee with updates on the Ross Park and Ride project. Manager of Scheduling, Philip St. Pierre, presented an October service adjustment. Deputy Director of Development, Dorsey Cleaver, updated the committee on the bus stop in Pittsburgh. CAT also met for a special meeting on the bus line redesign project on September 18th. Director of Planning and Service Development, Eric Dolphin, and Manager of Service Development, Emily Probijak, provided an overview for the project and sought their feedback. The next CAT meeting is scheduled for November 7th. Unless there's any questions or concerns, that concludes my report.
Thank you. Our next report is from the Finance Committee. Emma? Thank you.
Good morning, Chair and fellow board members. The Finance Committee met on Thursday, September 19th, where the July and August financial results were presented. It was reported that total operating income for July was under budget by $200,000 due to lower passenger revenue, but investment income continued to perform above budget. Total expenses for July were below budget by $5.7 million due to lower benefits and all other expenses. Total operating income for August was under budget by $200,000, primarily from lower passenger revenue. Total expenses for August were $2.2 million below budget due to lower purchased services and all other expenses. Total operating income is $1 million less than last fiscal year through August due to lower passenger revenues, shared ride revenues, and interest income. Total expenses through August are $3.9 million higher than last fiscal year due to higher wages and benefits and materials and supplies. Total subsidies as of August were $2.2 million, higher than last fiscal year due to higher vehicle overhaul invoicing and state operating assistance. Finally, it was reported that PRT has a remaining balance of $3.5 million in federal stimulus funds and ended August with about $372.6 million in cash reserves. Unless there are any questions or comments, that concludes the report of the Finance Committee.
Thank you very much. The next report is the report of the Technology Committee. Laura?
Good morning, Chair and fellow board members. The Technology Committee met on September 19th, and I have two resolutions for your consideration today. The committee first reviewed cooperative contracts and bids. The items presented included Panasonic Toughbooks, contactless Smart Pair Media, and LG thin client devices. The committee determined the bids and cooperative contracts to be in accordance with the authority's procurement policies and procedures. The price is fair and reasonable, the bidders to be responsible, and the bids responsive. The Technology Committee recommends the award of items as listed in the resolution for the total amount of $796,118.50. My fellow board members, I respectfully request the board approve this resolution.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you for the motion and second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
The committee then reviewed a resolution authorizing PRT to enter into an agreement to provide the following software applications and related support services: pre-post trip vehicle inspections, disruption management licensing for rail and repurpose previously procured Ivan 5 replacement units. The services will assist in paper use reduction in that drivers' inspections and post-trip maintenance needs will move from a legacy paper process to a digital process, using existing equipment on the bus and rail to gather this information. Additionally, the services will enable the expansion of disruption management for notices of service interruptions on the rail system. An agreement with Clever Devices Ltd. is recommended with a total not to exceed amount of $546,932 over a 3-year term. The committee concluded that the services are needed and that the prices are fair and reasonable, and respectfully recommends that the board vote in favor of the resolution to authorize PRT entering into the agreement. My fellow members, I respectfully request the board approve this resolution.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
And a second? Thank you. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Unless there are any other questions, that concludes my report.
I apologize for interrupting and thank you for
Thank
everyone
you.
for stepping in and reading and participating as chairs of the committees last week. We really do appreciate that. Our next item of business is election of replacement of officers. So this is a special election being held to fill certain officer positions as needed due to the departure of certain former officers from our board. The officers' positions that will be filled include the chair, vice chair, and treasurer. These positions will be filled for the unexpired term of the officers who previously held those positions. Senator James Brewster will continue to serve as board secretary pursuant to his election to that office at the board's annual meeting in January of 2024. Therefore, the position of secretary is not included within today's election slate. May I please have a report from Stephanie on the nominated committee, and thank you.
Thank you. And before I offer the committee's proposed slate of officers for this special election, I would like to thank my fellow committee members, Lori Dole, and Allie Dole and Lori.
Ms. Borsky.
For their guidance and support in this. The slate of officers being recommended by the nominating committee for the special election is as follows. Chair, Jennifer Liptak. Vice Chair, Representative Joe Pistolano. And Treasurer, Allie Dole. In addition of these officers, nominating committee is recommending elections for the following staff members to act as assistant officers. Dominica Brown, Peter Shank as assistant treasurer, Mike Cetra, Diane Williamson Julie Lackerson, Catherine Lucas, and Jane Parentis as assistant secretaries.
Thank you, Stephanie. And before I ask for a motion to adopt this slate of officers as presented, I must ask if there's any other nominations from the board. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Hearing none, nominations are closed for this session. Given that, may I have a motion to adopt the slate of officers as presented by the nominating committee for the special election?
Motion.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And as your new board chair for the next 3 months, I'd like to thank everyone for your confidence, and I hope that I can continue in the legacy of the past board chairs with integrity and honor. So thank you. Okay, moving on. Our next item of business is public comment. Our first speaker today is Andrew Hussein. Is Andrew online? I believe is he online today? Andrew, are you there? Check. Andrew Hussein. No, I'll give one more time. Andrew. Okay, can you please let us know if he pops on before the end of the meeting? Thank you. Amy Zeiss. I don't see Amy. Is Amy online today? Amy Zeiss? Amy Zeiss? Again, if we see Amy, can you please let us know? Thank you. I'll pop online. Next is Daryl Alston. Darnell, I apologize. Welcome.
Hello.
Thank you.
I'm a former employee of Port Authority, and I'm here today to speak on termination and things that happen more for people of color. And those things, to me, I feel like open door policies, lies, egos, cliques, abuse of power are common factors for these terminations. But I'm gonna tell about my story. I was terminated due to nepotism. And because I complained about the nepotism, I became the problem. I reached out to Catherine in September 12th of 2022 to ask 2 questions. How come part of HR is unionized and the other is not? Who determines that? And if someone is in HR who's having an issue, who do they go to, especially when the issue is with HR? I didn't receive a response. Upon that, I was harassed. I was retaliated against. My medical condition was used against me. I was told I violated a policy because the overused term of poor performance didn't stand with me because my work was never in question. So because of that, they retaliated against me, saying that I violated a policy because I worked a part-time job. And they said I didn't ask permission. And just various lies and things that were told because of bruised egos, abuse of power, just different things that managers use to manipulate the employees. One of the very first things that I was told when I came to Port Authority and I worked in the HR department was, whatever you know about HR, it doesn't apply here. And I've been in HR since 2003. That's when I started my career in HR. And I was told that. I was kind of blindsided. I felt like this can't be real. And I stayed only because when you're in an abusive relationship, you feel like things will get better. And so you stay, but then you found out that they're not going to get any better. So like I said, I was ultimately terminated just because I complained about nepotism. However, the individuals who I complained about, they still maintain their positions with Port Authority to this day, and they violated the policy of nepotism, which I have right here, and I would like to leave this with you. Documents that occurred because of me complaining about a position that I know I'm still qualified to do. And I'll just conclude with that.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Our next speaker is Fonda Dews.
Good morning. My name is Fonda. Good morning. My name
Good
is
morning.
Fonda
Please
Dusay.
proceed. Yeah, I apologize.
My
Please
name is-
proceed.
Good morning. My name is Fonda Dusay. Good morning to honorable board members. I'm the former Director of Equity and Inclusion. I want to first second all of what Ms. Darnell Austin said. I've witnessed most of it. We can all agree that HR is not part of the money-making scheme of an organization, but there are things that HR can do to save a company money. And those things are utilize sound judgment, best practices, and cultivate a psychologically safe environment. That did not happen while I was at PRT. Thus, it's my recommendation that certain people, based on my time there, should be removed and relieved of their duties. And I will go down the list. First, Inez Cologne for intentional infliction of emotional distress, sabotage, gamesmanship with people's employment, and manipulation, retaliation. Eric Wells for ethics. I witnessed Eric enter an HR meeting with a black and gold Alpha Phi Alpha face mask. It's unethical for him to wear it because he did not earn those letters. It's a faux pas and taboo in the Black community. Holly Jenkins for nepotism. I saw she introduced her son to me. He was working in the employment office. Lindsay Nichols for mismanagement of FMLA that resulted in some employees being terminated. Amy Giamenko. Veteran information was not gathered or collected or documented until 2021, until I got there. It was with the help and the drive of Mr. Rick Ames that information and a system to keep that information was established. Amy Giamenko was told by Inez Cologne to collect that information and record it in the HRIS. She just failed to do so. Only at PRT that the head of learning and development has insufficient education for that employment, for that position, and it showed in her work with me. I was wondering how Vet 100A reporting or Vet 4212 reporting that must be done for government agencies was missed for so long. Also, Dana Bassey for sheer incompetence as it relates to the handling of unemployment claims and retaliation against me. Also, the head of communications, Jim Ritchie, you need to have communication skills to be in that position. I asked for talking points from various people because I was speaking at a women's luncheon. He wrote back, CC'd everyone and said he was sorry, but he couldn't write a speech
Ms.
for me.
Dusay, can you just summarize? Your time is up, so you just want to do one last sentence, please?
Yes, when I was terminated, I was offered a severance package, which I did not sign because the termination letter was inaccurate.
Okay, thank you very
Thank you.
much
Thank
for
you
your time. Next speaker is Chaz Williams. Floor is yours. Thank you.
Hello, board members. I am speaking to you today as a former employee. I'm here because the PRT has a serious problem that is affecting the Black community of Allegheny County holistically. This government agency has an issue of systemic racism, and this cavalier practice has plagued the Black employees of this company for years. I myself was terminated as a personal favor by a friend of your former chairman, Jeffrey Lewin, who tells us to stop the hate against Jewish community, but allows the Blacks in this organization to be mistreated. In May of 2021, his friend Nicholas Verichetti berated me and created an unsafe and hostile situation for myself and the passengers on my bus. It is because of this incident that I am here today. After being accosted, chased down, and harassed. I was falsely accused of initiating a confrontation when in fact, I was doing nothing more than my job. After Jeff Letwin was contacted by his friend, they launched this investigation to see if there was anything that they could have accused me of during this encounter. Jeff Letwin passed this incident on to the CEO, Catherine Kellerman, to which she was in agreement with this decision to have me terminated, and then to the former COO, Michael Heidkamp, who contacted my immediate supervisor, Andre Carr, who terminated me along with ER Rep Holly Grabowski as a directive from their supervisors. As a result of this unfortunate incident, I had the opportunity to speak with numerous employees of PRT, some Black, some white, some current, and some former. And the conversation is consistent as to how the Black employees are treated more harshly and terminated at a much larger rate than that of the white employees. It made us to look like we're angry, aggressive, and incompetent, when in fact, we are the victims who are punished for matters other than our actual job performance. You have a serious problem dealing with the Black employees, and it needs to be addressed and brought to a resolution. I am here today after having met with several elected officials throughout Allegheny County over the past year, and some of whom sit on your board. So I understand that this is part of the process of having this toxic behavior addressed, and understand that I plan to see it to its end. We are men and women, husbands and wives, sons and daughters with responsibilities to our families, just like yourselves. We came to work and all we wanted to do was our job. But because of malice, dislike, jealousy, and or retaliation, we've been terminated from our jobs. And as we publicly inform you of these injustices that need to be investigated, we will continue to inform the public via multiple avenues and platforms about how this company treats its Black employees and utilizes other Black employees as managers to be gatekeepers so that this disparate treatment doesn't look racially charged. Please feel free to contact me if you're interested in further discussion. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Our next speaker is Sasha Craig. Welcome, please. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for having me. As you said, my name is Sasha Craig. I'm a 33-year, 8-month employee of Port Authority, 26 of which were as an instructor. I'm a proud retiree of the Port Authority. And as I said, in my 26 years as an instructor, I personally witnessed discriminatory acts that were perpetrated by the Port Authority of Allegheny County, and I will hit on a couple. But first, I want to tell you, in my time as an instructor, I had dealings with management, most notably former COO Bill Miller. Bill Miller was a wise man, and he said that it costs roughly $60,000 to train each employee. Now, I want you to hold on to that number. Now, we're going to fast forward. Port Authority has different ways of disciplining different people. I'll bring up a couple instances. We're not going to bring up names or specifics unless you want. There was a Caucasian male road operations supervisor who violated policy, and he was terminated. But due to the hard work and diligence of Local 85, that termination was commuted into a suspension. Now, let's fast forward. There was a female African-American road operations supervisor who committed a similar offense, who was terminated, and through the hard work of Local 85 was reinstated. Or was she? Due to, I guess, her work with CCT, the Coalition for Concerned Transit Workers, Eric Wells thought it prudent to challenge her reinstatement. Now, keep in mind, the violations were exactly the same, right? Keep in mind that we went through arbitration. PRT spent money, Local 85 spent money. The arbitrator ruled. She was awarded her job back. But because of retaliation, because of her work with CCT, Eric Wells, I'm only assuming, was given the mandate to challenge it in court, which is going to cost you more money. All right? Now, situation. African-American male maintenance worker was terminated for misuse of company property, a car. Through the hard work of Local 85, that employee was reinstated. Now, similarly and conversely, a female Caucasian employee did the exact same thing and actually totaled the car. Management covered it up. Management slid it underneath the rug. And if you don't believe me, look for car 78 and tell me what its condition is. Now, if you don't think that the Port Authority, PRT, or whatever you guys call yourselves these days is vindictive, I'm a prime example. In November of 2020, I testified in federal court, November 10th to be exact. That's 3 minutes? I thought I was talking fast. I'm a heck of a talker. If you don't know me, I will sum it up. Yes, as stewards of this body with a fiduciary responsibility to the taxpayers of this country, this state, and this county, I implore you to launch an investigation on the disparate treatment that your African-American employees and your female employees to a certain extent receive from this company. It is not fair and it is not legal. Thank you very much and have a great day.
Our last speaker is Nicole Gallagher. Hi, Nicole.
Good morning. My name is Nicole Gallagher, and I'm a community organizer with Pittsburghers for Public Transit. For the last 6 months, I have been running transit tours with Casa San Jose to help new Pittsburghers learn the transit system. PRT's Ready Cash system is very flawed, inaccessible, and penalizes riders who are already struggling financially. Riders can only add the following quantities to their virtual wallets: $3, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30, or $60. Last week, I was downtown at the PRT Service Center helping a recipient of Allegheny Go learn how to add cash to her Ready to Ride account. She wanted to buy a monthly pass for $48.50 and was very excited about how much money she would be saving thanks to this program. We went up to the teller with the exact change, $48.50, and he told us he could only add the above-mentioned quantities to her account. But perhaps the Connect card machine there would be an option to hit another button and enter the exact value we wanted to add. The teller came around to the machines with us and was just as surprised as we were when we found there was no option like that. We couldn't even round up to the nearest dollar and add $49. Having to add $60 to her account to buy a $48 pass is ridiculous and presents a burden to users. This cash upload problem is just one piece of why there's been such poor enrollment in the numbers for Allegheny Go program. As of last night, only 5,279 people have enrolled in Allegheny Go, successfully navigating a complicated email enrollment process. And of those, only 3,006 riders have ever even used Ready to Ride to pay for a trip. That is to say, only 56% of the people enrolled in Allegheny Go have figured out how to use Ready to Ride app to actually pay for a trip. By contrast, 14,000 low-income households were enrolled in the discounted fare pilot program in a similar time frame when there was a card-based low-income fare program. PRT Ready to Ride app is incredibly user-unfriendly and cannot be considered a reasonable transit fare payment mechanism. I challenge all of you who ride the bus on the board to get around by using the Ready to Ride app. Add to this complications of navigating Ready to Ride as a non-English speaker, the translation portion requires navigating to a specific part of the app, which is difficult to find. Which leads me to ask, did you not test these things out before rolling out such a vital program? Ready to Ride is not the only place where PRT is failing with language access. I have met many non-English speaking riders who have lived in Pittsburgh for years who've told me that they pay for the bus with cash because they have no idea Connect cards exist or how to access them or use them. One of these riders, a mother, told me that she has made a very hard decision to keep her kids home from schools on days when she can't afford to take them all on the bus. It's terrible to imagine that kids are being kept from accessing schools because of the cost of transit fares and how much money this mother could have saved in years if she'd known about a Connect card. I'm asking you to please change the Ready Cash features and allow riders to load whatever amounts they need to their virtual wallets. We need access to cards for Allegheny Go like yesterday. PRT needs to post signage providing basic instructions on how to ride in Spanish, please. Especially on the T's and South Hills. This is life-changing information. Y'all need to do better. And I'm leaving this pamphlet here so you can see, I've circled it, how much people can enter to their virtual wallet. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nicole. Okay, with that, the next regular meeting of the Pittsburgh Regional Transit will be Friday, October 25th, 2024. With that, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.